Welcome to the Books and Crafts Show. I'm Wendy.
And I'm Angie, and we're with Ella Publishing Company, and we have some really fun book frames to show you today.
Super exciting. It's a fun project to do with a favorite old used book that you've picked up at a thrift store or something you have around your house.
But let me ask you this, Wendy. Have you seen those, that there's lots of crafts out on the web or in books and things like that that you've seen made out of books, like lamps and shelves
Topiaries.
and all kinds of fun things made from old books. Have you ever had that hesitation, like how can I let myself tear apart this book?
Never, no. For me, it doesn't bother me to disassemble a book, no. You do?
A little bit, you know, because I think someone's put their heart and soul into writing this book, and how can I just come along and just tear it up?
I never thought of that.
But I like the idea of upcycling. I like the idea, if the book is just sitting in a thrift store and no one's going to read it anyway, do something with it.
Well, and plus there are books that are relevant and books that are not relevant. And, you know, sometimes the fun is finding the ones that are old and what they say, and you can be entertained.
And, you know, not so old that they're antique and valuable
or first
necessarily.
editions. You know, we're not saying tear up your first editions, people, of course.
Of course not. But this is a prime example of a book that I found at a thrift store. And this book is adorable. There's a little zebra on the cover wearing pajamas. I thought it was hilarious.
Not something you see every day.
And it's called Jokes and How to Tell Them. And it really does just tell you, it tells you a joke, and then it tells you why the joke is funny and tips for delivery. And it's actually quite awful. It was written in the 60s, and it's full of just outdated kind of racist references.
Oh, rip that baby up.
So, you know, I have no trouble taking this book and tearing it up and doing something else with it, because I think maybe it shouldn't have been written in the first place.
Yes. So whether or not it's a relevant book or one that's no longer relevant or possibly offensive, just, you know, find something that you like and get started with making a fun book frame.
Yeah, that's what we're doing today, actually, is making book frames. And I'm going to show you 4 cool book frames that I created that I'm using in a little setting in my house, one for each member of my family.
So where did you see this idea?
Oh, yeah, I saw it. Unfortunately, I can't remember exactly where, but I saw this idea in a magazine at a friend's house. And she doesn't remember what magazine it was in, but I've seen it a few places. So I didn't invent this idea, but I did kind of make up my own.
Your own variation.
Yeah. So I'm going to show you this first book. Is just this cool book that I picked up at a thrift store because it had a nice color and it was red and it has a cool name. It's called The Man Who Was Magic. And I like the fun little fleur-de-lis on the side here. So I decided this would be a fun one to cut a hole in the front and put a frame behind. This is my husband.
It's adorable.
Thank you. And on this one, I got a little bit crazy with not crazy, but I used a chipboard, the negative space from a chipboard letter, and put that here, and then I filled the center with diamond glaze.
I love it.
So that it has a kind of a shiny feel. This one, oh, that's my cute daughter.
Oh, and look at how cute. And you did 2. You did 2 frames. I love that.
I loved this cover. And the actual title of the book is
Let's see.
Honey Bunch and Norman Visit Reindeer Farm. It's too cute. It's very, very childhood related.
And it has like a feminine flourish and a very fun, vibrant color for sure.
Yeah, so I decided on this one to cut two evenly spaced frames right in the center and stick 2 pictures behind.
Okay. We have another one right here.
Yeah, I thought this is my favorite color right now, so I had to use this one for a frame that has my picture in it. And on this one, I actually put a page from the book. I tore a page right out of the book and I slipped that into the frame, and then I popped out my picture on top. And then I added, and before all that, I actually added a little decorative tape here. It's tissue tape from Tim Holtz.
Love it, love it,
love it. To cover up, there's a raw chipboard edge that is exposed once you cut your hole in the frame, which I'll show you in a minute, and that covers that up.
Yes, and you've got to cover it up and use all your stuff.
And this last one is a fairly standard example. It just has, this is my stepson Jeremy, and just the picture right in the back, and I put a little letter sticker right on with his
and
initial.
Great colors once again.
And one thing I did with the grouping as a whole is all of them have the blue in common. And
Excellent.
That's what helps tie it together for a display on a shelf in my house.
Yes, fantastic. And the cool thing about these is they will stand on their own, and these frames are not breakable. So if you have a house full of rambunctious boys like myself, you can rest assured that this will at least last 6 months at your house before getting ruined.
And I'll show you a way too that you can easily switch out photographs. If
great.
I've set it up so that it's not this book does not have to have this photo in it forever. So
great.
I'll show you how I did that. Okay, so you're gonna try to find, first of all, a book that you don't care about cutting up and that has a cover that's conducive to cutting into. Now, this is a book that I wouldn't cut into. I found this at the same trip to the thrift store where I found the other 4 frames, and
it's charming.
I think it's so charming.
Yes.
I wanna use this just on a shelf with other, little knickknacks.
Yes.
Rather, I wouldn't cut this cover off because that's so cute. But this one, on the other hand,
it's perfect. It's plain.
No trouble. And this book is called Games for the Super Intelligent, so no trouble cutting that up. I'm not super intelligent.
You don't need it anytime soon.
I actually cracked some of the games. I looked at some of them. They're impossible. So
it should be called Games for the Impossible, or people who think they're really smart.
Yeah, totally. So to start, all you have to do is you need a ruler and a pencil for your first step. I just measure and put a little dot where I want my hole to be. Now, if you wanted to have it fit a specific photo size, you would plan that ahead. So if you had a 4x6 photo, you would make sure to cut your window 4x6.
Right.
I, on these, tended to just cut the hole in the book cover and then, size my photo to fit afterwards.
So you went with kind of what you wanted it to, like if you wanted it to be at the top or 2 or centered. So that was your choice, and then
and then I took it from there.
Like me, I would cut first and then figure it out. Yeah,
I had a little bit of a plan, but not a huge plan. So here I'm just going to make a little dot on the 2 and then again on the 4 because I want a 2-inch opening, and I want to have some space on the bottom where I might put a few decorative embellishments. And I'm fine here just having the width of my ruler be the distance from the edge. So I'm going to take it from this side too, and I'm going to go 2 inches from the top, and then another 2 inches down.
And something nice about the clear rulers is you can make sure that you're doing everything straight because you can line it up just absolutely perfect because you can see right through it.
Absolutely. And then I like to use the fingertip craft knife from Fiskars for this kind of a project because it gives you, any craft knife will work, but I like that the way that it loops around your finger, it makes it so much easier to apply a little bit more pressure without and maintain control.
Gotcha.
It's unfortunately named because, what do you cut with a bread knife?
Bread.
What do you cut with a steak knife?
Steak.
What do you cut with a fingertip?
Oh no!
Craft knife.
Your finger.
Hopefully not your finger.
That's why I never use it.
But it's a fabulous product. So you also want your ruler to have a metal edge, and this one it's a plastic see-through ruler, but there is a metal edge so that I can kind of run
because
the
you can
blade
cut through acrylic with an X-Acto knife.
Oh, yes, you can. We've both done it, I'm sure. Okay, so I'm just going to line my ruler up along my dots, and my first cut is just going to be very light because I'm just cutting through the fabric covering right now. I don't need to worry about getting all the way through the whole cover.
And if you did, maybe apply a little too much pressure and cut all the way through and rip the paper, that would be fine. This is a kind of a forgiving type of project. You really can't mess it up. And I know Angie mentioned to me when she was working on this project that these books were all no more than $2 each.
Oh,
so
yeah.
she spent what? $10.
$8, yeah.
So really it's very reasonable and affordable. And I think it makes it so much more fun that she had quirky titles that went with each of the different photos and the personalities.
Yeah, I couldn't help that. I couldn't help doing that. I just couldn't put, some romance novel with my husband's picture on it because he wouldn't appreciate that. So.
Sometimes I see what people are reading, and I'll be honest, I kind of judge them. And
it can be surprising.
Sometimes when you are looking at older books and older titles, it's fun to think, oh my gosh, who would read that?
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so from here, I've cut my 4 lines there, not perfectly straight, but that's okay because you can fix it later. I'm just going to peel up a corner of this fabric and rip it right off. And since I've got my corners cut, it comes off really quite easily. Except for that, there we go. So now there's a really good visual guide here, and if you're good with your craft knife, you don't need to use the ruler anymore. I've found that it's better to do lots of light cuts instead of one pressing really hard, because it will be hard to get through all those layers. But if you're worried about cutting the interior pages, just stick a little craft mat underneath and keep going. So I'm gonna do, you know, maybe, sometimes I might take 10 cuts, and you can feel when you punch through the other side.
You just have to be patient, which is sometimes hard for us crafters.
Oh, and what's also hard for me is that this cutting through cardboard, I don't know if it's like that for you, is the same as fingernails on a chalkboard for me. So
oh, no, it doesn't bother me. So
I'm gritting my teeth through this. I'll be fine. So now you can see
that you've cut all the way through.
I've punched through right here. And then
you would just do the same on all the other sides.
Do the same thing on all 4 corners, and just keep going. Grit your teeth if you have to. It's not that bad.
This is as she's muttering to herself.
And then I kind of will stick the craft knife in here to finish my corner.
Well, and as you mentioned at the, as you were showing the frames, you'll have a raw edge, and you can finish that in a variety of ways.
So that pops that easily, and you just finish the other 2 corners the same way. And yeah, it looks just like this raw cardboard edge. So there's several ways to finish it. On these 2, I did the acrylic paint to cover that up. And
it's just so cute and whimsical.
It was a lot of fun. And then on these 2, I used, I'm gonna stack those
and
on
you
top.
mentioned this one is the tissue tape, and then this one is more like a decorative.
Yeah, and here's the tissue tape, Tim Holtz. That's what that looks like on the roll. And you just wrap it around the exposed part. So there's some on the inside and there's some on the outside. And then on this here, I used this decorative tape from American Crafts. It comes in a set of 3.
Okay, so you said you would show us how you can replace the photo afterwards.
Yeah. So I would
like
then,
if you can switch it out like a regular kind of frame.
Absolutely. If you peek inside, there is just, I cut up a manila folder and just cut it a little bit larger than the opening on the front, and used this bookbinding tape around 3 sides. And there's an opening on the top that makes it super easy to just slip a photo in and out.
And you wrote down the size of the photo, so you can do it really easy.
So I definitely didn't plan ahead. So this is an odd size. It's 3 1/4 by 5 3/4. So I've got that size just noted here, so I can put a new photo in there very easily.
Okay, well, I think these are fantastic projects, and I'm excited, and I have no qualms about tearing up books. But I really don't.
And you know, this is a good entry-level project for that, because I haven't really ruined any of the pages from within the book.
Yes.
So if someone still wanted to read the marigold cut,
they could. Or the magic man on his magic horse with the reindeer farm with all the bunnies. Okay, something that as avid readers, we love to share. I mean, I'll go up to a stranger in the library, and I'm sure I've done this. And you know, if they're kind of contemplating a book, I'll say, "Oh, you know, what is that? Have you read it? Have you read by the author?" And you just kind of have this instant conversation, because avid readers are always looking for great recommendations.
Absolutely. So we're here to share a few recommendations with you every week. So this week's book picks are...
And I'm going to go first, because I am so excited about this book, because let me just tell you something. This is it's kind of an odd cover. It's like some sort of mannequin leg on a chair with some numbered blocks, and I probably would just walk right by and maybe think, oh, that's very strange. But it was recommended to me because this is a young new author, Amy Bender, and the idea of the book is this girl lives in this teeny tiny town, and she's very introverted and lonely, and you know, it's all about her becoming more aware and blossoming and growing. It's almost like a modern day Secret Garden.
Oh, I love that book.
Oh, and I thoroughly loved it. And like I said,
what's it called?
It's called An Invisible Sign of My Own, and that has relevance later on.
I'm going to have to read it.
If I ever walk around with a number necklace, you're going to know why. Anyway, it's a great recommendation, and like I said, I would have never picked it up if someone hadn't recommended it to me. So I'm recommending it to you. It's fiction, fantastic book.
Awesome. I have a book that is enormous, but it's not intimidating. This is a book of cartoons. And they're by a woman named Roz Chast, and she is a cartoonist for the New Yorker magazine. And I found a few of her cartoons in that magazine first, and then when I saw this book, I just decided I had to have it. It's kind of nerd humor, and it's like Seinfeld. If Seinfeld were a cartoonist, I think he might draw some of these cartoons. They're very much about just mundane things in everyday life. There's like a poem to your toaster, that kind of stuff.
I love it. And you know, how fun to have out in your family room, and when guests come over, you know, it's a great conversation piece.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Plus, you can see if they have a good sense of humor.
Yeah, not everyone gets it at first, so give yourself time if it takes a minute, but they are seriously hilarious. On the back it says, not by the same author. Fun with capital gains tax.
Oh,
How to fix your TV set.
it's already funny.
The maraschino cherry diet. Rubber bands, friend or foe. So it's just really fun. I picked this up when I need a little pick-me-up. Here, there are a couple cartoons I want to share with you really quick that you might like. This is called Bad Housekeeping, the magazine for women who couldn't care less. 200 meals you can whip up in under 10 seconds. How to ignore a 17-inch dust ball. I let my house plants die. One person's story. So there's just little gems that will make you smile. So pick up Theories of Everything if you need a good laugh.
Okay, love it. We're so excited to share book recommendations with you because we love to read, and we know that you will enjoy having fun reading these books.
All right, well, we hope to see you next week. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you.